Hi everyone, here's the Book Chemist once again, and today I'm continuing my exploration of George Saunders' fictional production with his second short story collection, Pastoralia. Last week I liked Civil War Land in Bad Decline a lot. Check out my review of that one too if you're interested. I had some issues with it. What about Pastoralia? Pastoralia, the novella that opens this collection, the other stories in it tend to be much shorter than this first story, is, as many of Saunders' stories, about a very weird amusement park, which is so weird and extreme in the way it humiliates its employees, has to appear extremely silly for that very reason, as to appear extremely believable in today's world and very horrific. One of the very important things Saunders' stories do is show you the horror, the hidden horror of, for instance, relationships among workers or between employers and employees in today's society, and also relationships between humans, between people, like normal people, in a society in which one's value and worthiness is judged by fleeting things such as wealth, such as success, such as beauty, especially unreachable kind of beauty. And Pastoralia, the short story slash novella, is, in my opinion, the best piece in this collection and showcases those themes and reflections beautifully. It is very elegant, masterfully executed, nice evolution throughout the story. It is maybe a little bit less sprawling and ambitious than some of the pieces in Civil War Land, where you got ghosts coming out from everywhere and everything happened in the span of a page, but that's not something necessarily bad. I mean, in pieces such as Pastoralia, what Saunders does is showing you that he can achieve the same kind of literary greatness without having to throw lots and lots of silliness and absurdities at you every single paragraph. Also because he still kinda uses quite nice amounts of absurdities and silliness. What about the rest of the collection? The rest of this collection is a bit hit or miss, if you ask me. There's a story called Sea Oak in here, which is very good, probably the best after Pastoralia. It is pretty much the only, strictly speaking, supernatural tale in this collection, very differently from Civil War Land, where the supernatural abounded. It was basically a fantasy science fiction collection. It's a very rewarding story, has some fairly dicky characters, but good dicky characters, let's say. Also, there's a story called The End of Firpo in this world. The End of Firpo in the World, which is very short and polished and utterly heartbreaking. It's narrated using a kind of problematic child as the focalizer. One of the best ways of using 10 minutes of your life reading that story. As for the rest, they tend not to be quite as unforgettable. Don't get me wrong, they are all very well executed and tend to be quite rewarding also, which, as I mentioned in my previous review, Civil War Land, it's refreshing in today's world of the literary short story. Many literary short stories tend to have kind of an epiphany in the middle and then just die for whatever reason. All of these stories tend to be quite rewarding, but at the same time they also tend to deal with the same kind of people who are very sweet but secretly horrible and have shitty jobs and have shitty families, and they focus on how they can be extremely sweet or extremely horrible. And is there something wrong with that? No, not per se, but after a while you start like, okay, that was nice, now please give you some romance, maybe a murder mystery, Mr. Saunders, please. Problem here, I think, is the same you have with Hunod Diaz's short story collections, especially This Is How You Lose Her, which is a great collection, but the point there is that it gets difficult to care about the heartbreak of a character when you have just read 7 or 8 other stories with very similar main characters having very similar life-ending heartbreaks. Here, after a while, it gets very difficult to care about the tremendous, wondrous, shitty lives of these people when they kinda all have the same kind of shitty lives. I believe the point is that these are all highly rewarding short stories in their own merit. Maybe put together in a collection such as Pastoralia, that doesn't help them a lot. Also because George Saunders' black humor, which is one of his sharpest weapons, the guy is side-splitting fun, after a while, when you read about all of these depressing characters, like, it stops being fun and you only start noticing the depressing side of the joke. And that's a complete pity. George Saunders is probably not the kind of guy you're supposed to read all of his collections in the span of 2 weeks. So yeah, fuck me. That said though, that might give the idea I didn't like Pastoralia. I liked it. I actually liked it quite a lot. I thought maybe it was a bit worse than Civil War Land with all of its issues. It's definitely not as good as In Persuasion Nation. That's a great, definitely an amazing short story collection. I would suggest it as a good introduction to Saunders production if, for whatever reason, you tend to be put off by supernatural elements in your fiction. Don't start with Civil War Land, that one is filled with those. This one here stays literary most of the time. That's also probably why I found it the most boring of Saunders collections, probably. Yeah, if you don't have a problem with the supernatural, I'd still say begin with In Persuasion Nation. It's my favorite among his works I've read so far. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Let me know what you think about Pastoralia. Do you like it a lot? Do you hate it? Do you think the stories are kinda samey? Didn't you have this kind of problem while you were reading it? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you again for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.